Hi guys, this is Farz and welcome back to Farzzology. And in this tutorial, I'll show you how to edit and retouch a outdoor portrait. So let's get started. Okay, this is the portrait I'm gonna work with. This is a very beautiful portrait, and at first I have to do some retouching work, the skin retouching. So first, create a new layer. And I want to use a spot healing brush tool because it's really easy to use. Let's zoom in and just click and drag. So apply it on the area where you feel it is distracting. I think, yeah, that's fine. So I think this is fine, this is okay. So let's see the before and after. This was the before and this is after. It's just a pretty simple work. So it's done. Now merge these two layers and now copy the layer twice by pressing Ctrl and J twice. The first one, name it the high frequency layer. That's perfect. And the second one, low frequency layer. That's good. Now hide the high frequency layer. Just click on this eye tool, click on this eye icon, and now active the low frequency layer. Then go to filter, then blur, and select the Gaussian blur. It's too much. Let's try 25. I think this is too much. So I'm going with, I think, 12. So set a value where all the skin looks flat, all the blemishes are gone, just like this. Now press OK. And now active the high frequency layer. That's good. Now go to the image and select here apply image. In the high frequency layer, we will preserve the texture, the skin texture. So, and in the source layer, select the low frequency, and in the blending mode, select here subtract, and opacity 100%, scale 2, and offset value 128. And now click OK. So this is your texture layer. And now change the blending mode to linear light here. It's done. And in the low frequency, we have the skin color and the transition between the highlights and shadows. So now active the low frequency layer and now select the lasso tool. And look at this, the feather value is 0 pixels. That means the edges are harsh, the edges are really hard. But we want the soft edge. So we want to take the feather, we want to apply some feather, but we don't know what value is perfect for this image. We want to know what is the perfect value for this picture. So we want to take this. So for this, just do a rough selection and click on the select and mask option. And here we'll find a bar called feather. And so gradually increase it and look at the result. The edges become soft. So I am going with 25. Let's zoom in and look at the edges. Now it looks better. So apply a value like this. Okay, now cancel it and remember the feather value 25. And now Ctrl and D to deselect. And now select the last tool and apply the feather value 25. That's good. Let's zoom in and make a selection like this. Oops, don't go to the edges. So make a selection like this and avoid the edges. And now go to the filter, then blur, then select the Gaussian blur. And gradually increase it I think 41 is too much. Look at this, the edges become a little bit blackish, so don't apply too much blur on this. 22, let's see the preview. This was the before and this is after. I think 16. I think 16 looks good to me. So now press OK. Now press Ctrl and D to deselect. And make another selection like this. And just apply the same method. Gaussian blur, or you can press Alt plus Ctrl plus F as a shortcut. It is done. Press Ctrl and D to deselect. Create a selection here. Look at this before and after. This was the before and this is after. Look at the difference. Look at the transition. It looks smooth now. So create another selection like this. So let's zoom out and let's see the before and after. This was the before. Look at the transition, look at the colors. This is after, this is after, and this is before. It looks great. And if you want to remove this part too, you can also do it by just activate the high frequency layer and click the healing brush tool. That's good. And just press and hold Alt and select the source and just paint. Oh my god, look at this. It's terrible. Just make sure you have select here current layer. Press Ctrl and Z to undo. And now press and hold Alt and select the source area and just paint like this. Look at this. It's gone. It's gone. So it's pretty easy. I think it looks fine. Now let's say the before and after overall. This was the before. Look at the face, look at the transition, look at the colors. And this is after. It's really great. So the basic retouching is done. Now we'll do some dose and burn effect. So for this, just create a new layer. Let's zoom in and select the brush. And for dose effect, select the white color and change the blending mode to soft light and opacity around I think 15% and flow also around 10 to 15%. Always use low opacity and low flow. Zoom in and always use soft brush. And now just paint like this. Let's see the before and after. Look at this. This was the before and after. It looks great. I think I should decrease the opacity more, around 10%. Yeah, that's good. That's looking nice. That's good. Paint here also. Mainly paint on the highlighted area. I think this is fine. Look at this. This was the before. Look at this. And this is after. It looks great, right? Yeah. And now pick the black brush and just paint on the darken area to create the burn effect. So I think here. I think I should decrease the flow a little bit, around 10%. Yeah. I think now it's looking better. Look at this. This was the before and this is after. Look at the skin. This is the before and this is after. It looks great. Okay, the retouching is done. Now we'll do color grade, and for this I will use the camera raw. So let's make a group of all three layers. Press Ctrl and G to make a group and rename it to retouch. It's done. Now press Shift plus Ctrl plus Alt plus E to merge all the layers into a single layer and then convert it to a smart object. And now open it with camera raw filter. Okay, now come to the basics option and I have to decrease the temperature. So I'm giving not too much, it's really high. So I'm giving -9 for temperature and then -38 for tint. I also want to decrease the exposure a little bit. So I'm giving -0.3 for exposure and -5 for contrast. I want to decrease the highlights. So I'm giving I think 80 to 85, looking good. And now I also decrease the shadows. I'm giving -25 for shadows and -15 for white and +15 for black. It looks little bit underexposed now, but we'll fix it in the curves. So now come into the curves. So create a point here and drag it to the up. So create a first point here and create another point to brighten up the image, just like this. Oops. I think it looks better now. It looks perfect. Look at this. This was the before the curves and this was after applying the curves. I think it looks great. So it is done. And now I'm to apply color noise reduction. I think I'm giving 25 for color noise reduction. And now coming to the color mixer option, and here coming to the saturation, I'm giving -5 or -6 for yellow. I think -5 because the skin looks a little bit yellowish. So, and now I have to decrease the green also, so I'm giving -10 for green, -15 for aquas, and then again -15 for blues, then -10 for purple, and -5 for magenta. And now coming to the effects option, and here I want to apply some little bit vignetting, so I'm giving -7, and I have to increase the feather. I'm giving 80 or 85, and I'm coming to the camera calibration option, and in the red primary I have to increase the saturation of red primary, so I'm giving 25. And coming to the green primary, let's try with this slider. I'm giving 100 in the hue, and look at the difference, it's great. Look at this, this was the before and this is after. It's totally changed the color, it's beautiful. And now for the saturation I'm giving +10, I think it looks better. And I come into the blue primary channel, the last option, I'm giving -10 for hue and -35 for saturation. Let's see the before and after. This was the before applying the camera calibration, and this is after applying the camera calibration. Look at the sense, it's really great. So the color grading is done, and now press OK when you are done. Okay. Let's press Q to see the before and after. This was the before color grading, and this is after color grading. Look at this, look at the shines, it's really beautiful. Okay, let's increase the saturation of reds a little bit. Yeah, I think 15 is perfect. Look at the dress, look at the color of dress, it's beautiful. Okay, now press OK. So the color grading is done, and we will do some little things. Let's zoom in and look at the eyes. It should be a little bit bright enough. So for this, create a brightness and contrast adjustment layer. And increase the brightness and also the contrast. Increase the contrast, increase the brightness. I think this is fine. Now press Ctrl and I to inverse it. And now pick a soft white brush. Let's zoom in. Opacity 100%, flow 100%. And now just paint. Look at this, look at the difference. This was the before and this is after. Just do the same with this side. It's perfect. Let's zoom out and see the before and after. This was the before and this is after. Just decrease the opacity a little bit. And you can also paint on the white area. Just decrease the opacity. And click on the mask and paint with the white brush, just like this. Simple. Let's decrease it a little bit more and paint on this area. It's really easy to use. So the color grading, the retouching is done. Now I want to add a light on this area. So for this, just open your light and place it here and change the blending mode to screen. Now press Ctrl and T and make it bigger. So now look at this, it looks beautiful. So the editing is done. Let's see the before and after overall. This was the before and this is after. Look at this, it's really beautiful. And I hope you loved this tutorial. If you did, hit the like button, leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe.